Hello everybody and welcome to Alex Bytes. I'm your host, Alex Dalinar, and I am back with another game of Supreme Commander Forge Alliance Forever. A 1v1 ladder match today between Inspector Cot and silentNoob on the map Ocil Wetlands. Now, just a quick aside before we start the game, as a reminder, if you'd like to get your game cast, whether it be a ladder match or no, feel free to send that my way. And if you have any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, hellos, or anything else, feel free to send that my way as well. That's all the announcements I've got. Let's go ahead and launch into the game. And here we are in Ocil Wetlands. Coincidentally enough, the map that I casted last, but rest assured I'm not getting too attached to it. There will be other maps. Now, let's introduce both of our players. Here in the bottom left, we've got Inspector Cod, rockin' Cybrin Blue. And in the top right, we've got silentNoob, rockin' UEF Red. And I've got to say, I agree with silentNoob's assessment there. I didn't notice last time we cast this. There's actually quite a bit of mass and energy available in two-player bases there. That's 6 mass points and 2 hydrocarbon, pretty much within arm's distance of everything. So definitely that helps to get your early game economy going quite well. Either way, let's go ahead and see how both these players intend to progress. We've got a first land factor going up for both players there. Inspector Cot agreeing with the assessment as well. We're all on board the resource train here, and it looks like we just got mass points galore going up for both players, and then we'll see what comes up next. Let's go ahead and bump up our speed just a little bit as the early game progresses here. We'll wait until we actually see action, right? And I am more than happy to get into it. It looks like we've got an air factory queued up here for Inspector Cot. Look at me, I'm finally starting to be able to recognize things. That's what happens when you practice enough. And here we've got an air factory going up for silentNoob as well, with a little bit more energy queued up on that guy there. And the adjacency bonus on the mass point as well, so he might be trying to invest a little bit more in air. I might be reading too much into things, we'll see how that goes. And we have our engineers starting to pop out around the map for both players there. Just some mass sucking up there. This guy's on a very long mass claim route up there, indeed, to grab the other bases. In fact, I didn't quite notice that before. If we take a look at the mass points, it looks like this might be intended for an 8-player match overall there. You've got 2 bases on the back line, 2 bases on the front line. There's quite a few delicious mass points to be had up there. And we have more reclaim going on out here, along with the first little assault section here. We've got, actually, not an assault from silentNoob there. He just looking to defend his engineer there, but it looks like Inspector Cot here looking to get quite aggressive there, but he's got quite a walk to be had, doesn't he? And we've got what looks like, is that a transport? It is, yes, it looks like we've got a transport going up there. So silentNoob here giving a taxi service to his engineers. Where's that queued up to? Looks like he's going to the bottom right. So let's go ahead and go into a single map view there so we don't split our focus too much here as we have the developments going on for the games. We've got an air scout coming out there, and it looks like indeed Inspector Cot has decided to go for a transport first as well. Going to go ahead and be a little bit more aggressive with his transport though, looking to claim the middle section there with his, while these engineers eventually going to get set up, but at the moment they're just simply taking a smoke break, and that's not going to go well for them because we've got that little assault squad finally reached the other side of the map there, and they are going to shut this down post-haste. Oh, and those poor engineers there trying to get things built up there, trying to erect a point defense, but I have a feeling that's not going to go up in time as these engineers get popped. That is not going to happen, is it? Maybe. I don't know my numbers very well. It's so very close. That mantis getting in range. It's so close. 1200, but popped right before the very end. Talk about clutch. And those poor engineers gone. If only they hadn't taken that smoke break, they might have had something happen. That's what you get, and that's why you have to work fast in war. They say rush, rush, wait, wait, and indeed that is the name of the game here. We've got ourselves a medium tank assisted by a land scout there. If he micros that well, he should take the edge on that engagement there. That air scout taking the first little pop there with his little pea shooter there. How very cute. And indeed he chases him away. Now that I actually casted this game previously, I can go ahead and start making some judgment calls, take some guesses about how this game's going to progress. Now, last time we had our top player here take an early grab of this little front forward base there, whereas our bottom player there did not make the same grab. Instead, he ended up hold off here because there was some units here from the right player there, and I think that ended up losing our bottom player of the game there, where he tried to put a push there, start setting up his base here at the bottom, and he just didn't have it well defended frustrated enough where a timely push with T2 units just nailed him before he could hide in the water. Now, I'm not sure if that's actually going to become relevant in this game here, but we're going to go ahead and want to see what players claim these expansions first, and perhaps that will help us decide how this game's going to go. As we have a little attack going on up here, if these units were all bunched up, they might do well, but as it stands, they're going to face slightly more condensed forces here, so I don't think they're going to see much success there. And not making the mistakes of our previous game here, we have our bottom player claiming this first right away, whereas silentNoob here is not making quite the same play there, so we'll see how well that goes for him, as this little run by here, as predicted, is doing some damage here on the mass points. I didn't actually predict that, that's a lie, but still, they're doing some damage, but as predicted, they're getting cleaned up without really getting much done. But, you know, you take out some mass, one to be precise. If only he were shooting that. It looks like he decided to start shooting that, but a little bit too late, and it survived. So one mass point out of all that. Not exactly crippling, but we can't judge him for that. There's a whole lot going on. It's all too easy to see what you need to do when you're casting, that's for sure. And it looks like we've got ourselves a drop coming in from there. What's loaded on there? It looks like a solitary engineer, and that guy is not going to find any success, because Inspector Caught here doing quite well with the early game grab here. He's taken the middle expansions there, he's got defenses up on both sides. If we take a look at the kind of presence he has, he's got radar up on both fronts here. silentNoob, a little bit further back there, has got very little vision going on. So as far as the early game is concerned, as far as map presence is concerned and control, it definitely looks like things are in Inspector Caught's favor there, along with a slight mass edge. Never mind, that's a lie. Never mind, it's back up. It looks like that might have just been some pressure I was missing there. But yeah, he's got an advantage on the mass front. Not quite the energy front. It looks like he was tanking there for just a moment, but that got fixed up. He was probably, let me guess, just built a T2 perhaps? Is he up there yet? Yes, he is at T2 and just built himself a power generator. Good for him. And it looks like he has indeed claimed this. So making conjecture here, from that, that T2 already clearing out that little forward expansion, no problemo. So for making conjectures here, we've got Inspector Caught doing what our player down here at the bottom or what our player did last time, denying this little forward expansion there. So we can see here that the half of the map kind of this is supposed to be is swinging in Inspector Caught's favor, claiming about 60% of the map. So, you know, guessing early, maybe not the best thing, but it definitely seems like Inspector Caught here making all the right moves, and silentNoob looks like he might end up on the back foot a little bit. It looks like he was trying to poke at this a little bit earlier, but it looks like now he simply got a defensive line and is currently just standing still, getting powered away by that Medusa fire there. Those poor tanks there just kind of chilling out, thinking they'd be fine, but indeed they are not. They're going to rush forward to try and take out those Medusas and face a giant wave of spiders. Let's hope we don't have arachnophobes in the audience here, because let me tell you, there's nothing like a giant field of laser spiders to really wake you up in the morning. And they are going to stream through, sensing an advantage, and eventually get shut down, because we've got plenty of field capacity back here, plenty of batteries spewing things out there, but it looks like that is not interested in engaging right away. And I don't blame him. You would want to engage spiders, but it should be enough to prevent any major damage being done. Up on the top here, we have a small force collecting up here for Inspector Caught there. It looks like silentNoob perhaps wanting to engage. His commander feeling brave for a second and then turning back, letting his forces do the brunt of the work there. And it looks like we've got ourselves T2 out as well. Or we already had T2 out, but it looks like the units have started to roll out as well, with a Rhino tank up here serving as the solitary T2 unit there. He's just the captain there leading the squad. We'll see if he makes any magic happen, but it looks like these are fairly even. The advantage is in silentNoob's favor there, but it looks like he's not quite confident enough to move out there. If we actually take a look at what he sees, yeah, he doesn't have too much vision out there. His vision ends right there, and so we can see him perhaps being a little bit too hesitant. I guess that is the advantage of having radar coverage. All he's got is back there and back here. He could use a little bit more forward radar, but again, he's had some trouble actually claiming these forward areas there, so we certainly can't fault him for that. And we can see here, oh no, Inspector Caught here claiming the bit of land that should rightfully be silentNoob's there, but silentNoob, perhaps hearing what I'm saying, has decided to go ahead and push. Let's not forget what's going down there. Not much, an attack. I mean, that's actually important to watch. Let's go ahead and keep an eye on both fronts, shall we? Take out that mini-map there. We'll keep an eye on the top part there and the bottom part there, and see how both of the attacks from the players go. It looks like they both kind of funny, coincidentally enough, decided to back off at about the same time, but Inspector Cott, never mind, he's not backing off, he's charging forward. Not want to take that out, but sensing an undefended portion right up here, and he is going to claim it. silentNoob, what's his response? So far, not much. Chilling out at this expansion, rightfully his, some Medusa fire rolling in, picking off those units bit by bit, but we have Inspector Cott here with an attack just rolling on through here, and it will get shut down eventually, but the question is how much damage is going to happen in the meantime. Actually, not much. He took out a mass point right there. Maybe he'll take out that mass extractor there. But it looks like he's going to get shut down by some pillars there from silentNoob, his T2 rolling out and having a field day of it. But if we take a look back here, I don't know when he ecoed so hard, I was not paying attention, but so far the mass disparity is kind of crazy if you think about it. We've got 175, and that is mass income. That's not reclaimed whatsoever. If we take a look at total there, we've got quite a bit more altogether. We've got 100, whoa, and things suddenly shutting down. Interesting. There might be a little bit of weirdness with the Scream scoreboard, because that should be mass income coming in. Not sure what that's all about, but regardless. Either way, we can see here that Inspector Cott has about twice the mass edge on average of silentNoob, and that is certainly something. I'll tell you what. And we can see here that's made an impact already, where he's got nearly 30,000 extra mass brought in throughout this game. And that is certainly helping him just stay on here and keep the pressure on silentNoob here. Perhaps those extra expansions he claimed up here serving as the edge there, and he's probably got a lot of T2 back here because so far he has been completely uncontested in his back front there, so he can go ahead and take care of that no problem. It looks like we also have Loyalist out on the field too from Inspector Cott, so wasting no time in teching up either. We've got that attack there, just go ahead and looking to rush there. Let's go ahead and just tone this speed down just a little bit there. We've got a little bit of slowdown in the game anyway, so might as well let us take things at a nice, slow and steady pace. Some hastily erected walls. Inspector Cott there trying to keep this force at bay there of the Titan and Shield onslaught. It looks like he's going to be able to hold that back, but with casualties. But that's not the only thing going on, because up here on the top front there, we've got that Loyalist leading the charge there, taking some hits. He's dangerously low, but he is a brave man, and he's going to keep charging on. So what is he going to make happen? Look at him just firing shots to and fro, but oh no, what's that? A Titan here, just constructed, is going to go ahead and shut this assault down hard. And those last few Medusas there, not getting the memo that a Titan is out, are going to go ahead and bite the dust from those lasers. Ouch. That hurts. But that's not the only attack here. We've got another Loyalist out in the front there, now that the forces are gone, just continuing to wail away. silentNoob's commander here, hastily going for the defense, a nice overcharge, taking him out, kablam. But he is going to lose some factories out of all that. Oh, yep, nope, no, he is. And indeed, this attack here has been at this one point here for like the past minute, and it's not going to be making any headway. That Titan there, standing in the middle of enemy forces there, sadly cannot stand forever. And we can see here that this bottom attack has swung in Inspector Cott's favor there. It looks like he's intent on pushing back. There's not too much T3 left in here. We've got one Titan there, and that is about it. And so, ooh, he's even got an air attack. By the way, we have not been looking at air engagements whatsoever. It looks like we just had a transport come down here and just load a couple rhinos here in the back. That's quite cheeky. We'll see if they can actually get anything done. But I like the play. Just some air attacks there to keep the pressure on in the back line there. Let's go ahead and combine our fields once again as the attacks just kind of keep coming at a nice, slow, steady pace. There's not too much need to keep a direct focus on them. But yes, it looks like we've got some air play going on at the moment. We got a ferry command running up here. It looks like he's got a ferry command to go ahead and load units right inside the base. Very bold behavior, but if we take a look there, that might be prompted by the fact that silentNoob here has very little anti-air. It looks like maybe realizing that is starting to throw out some interceptors, but that's certainly not enough to get things going. And we've got an aggressive push here with silentNoob's commander there, trying to make something happen. It looks like he's going to go ahead and back up before he faces too much damage there. He almost took out a point defense there. He could have stuck around just a little bit longer, but I don't blame him. Why risk your commander if you don't have to? Speaking of which, those air transports there, cheeky little devils, them are going to go ahead and drop a combined force of T1 and T3 right on top of the commander there, but a quick overcharge, some quick blasting is going to go ahead and shut that down, and I don't imagine that he's going to lose his commander in all this. Especially with those Titans to act as bodyguards and push him away, but I imagine silentNoob here perhaps getting a little bit hesitant. He's going to go ahead and back up into the safety of his somewhat damaged base. If we take a look here in the bottom, we've got an attack going on once again, but again, silentNoob, he's gotten about this far and has so far been able to push forward. He did shut down a hydrocarbon, and he did shut down a point defense there, but so far he's just had no luck in making headway. Meanwhile, we've got continued drops, a giant wave of engineers here looking to reclaim everything that they can. They're getting a shot in the face for their greed. It looks like he was even trying to reclaim an interceptor there, cheekily enough. That is just cute. But we have that ferry command we saw earlier here. Just look at that. That is not a sight that you want to see in this situation there. They're going to drop a whole bunch of Meduses there. Sadly, they have dropped right on top of a Titan there, so they're going to get cleaned off quickly. The question is, what damage can they do in the meantime? Well, so far, looks like not too much. These guys not really focusing on anything in particular, just kind of running forward, trying to run away from that Titan there. If they focus, they could maybe, it looks like they're trying to focus on that power generator, finally deciding upon a target. Are they going to take it out is the question. We can see it, nah, they're not. So very close. They brought that down to about 475, but that power generator going to continue existing. So not exactly the most effective push, but then again, it's taking his attention away, and we can see here there are very few units on the front line up here, which is going to be dangerous for him, and Inspector Cott, realizing that, is launching attacks to and fro, bombers, softening up the targets, and Mantis here, perhaps not realizing how outdated they are, charging forward, but they are doing damage regardless. That's why you don't let people shut you down. You gotta live your dreams, you gotta charge forward, even if there's T3 on the field, just be a T1 bot. Just go ahead and accept who you are. And continued Rhino drops out in back here. Gonna get some nice micro there, avoiding the Titan shots as best they can, but they can't dodge forever. But there are enough of them to keep running forward there. Bombs dropping down. Anti-air starting to roll out there. We see T2. Wait, I'm not looking at anti-air there. Now I am. Skybox is here. T2 anti-air going down to shut those. But finally, he sensed that power generator was low and he took it out to finish the job. And we've got, is that a commander out there by silentNoob? Indeed it is. Is he perhaps a little overextended? There is enough units there to take him out if he doesn't back away. It's going to be dangerous. silentNoob perhaps sensing that has thrown out the GG as units just continue to stream right in him. We haven't looked at the mass in a little bit there. This is a huge disparity. Indeed, there's no chance of him pulling out from here. And it looks like Inspector Cod here perhaps not agreeing with the assessment of a good game a little bit. I'm not sure I agree with that. I enjoyed watching this, but that's okay. We can go ahead, let the players have their opinions. It's important that we all have our opinions. Inspector Cod here, not quite realizing it. Inspector Cod, to answer your question here, of course, I'm not the most experienced at this game. I'll never claim to be, but it seems like that early game presence that he established there pretty much helped him win this, in that he got over 50% of the map claimed and just held that, and silentNoob never pressuring back. And eventually, that good eco from him helped win him the game. And we see here that silentNoob, perhaps all energy just poofed right out of him, has decided to not even try that much. We've got a couple Titan assault bots not really hearing that message, continuing to push forward there, but just unable to. He's complaining about power here. Ooh, and we can see here that he has indeed suffered. He only lost about one power generator up here in the back there, so perhaps he was pretty good on power beforehand, but it looks like perhaps it was the production that's got him pushed back, not to mention all these backdrops going on here. It looks like air presence was maybe a little bit lacking for him as well. If silentNoob here wondering precisely what he did wrong here, let's see, or at the very least it was Inspector Cott that didn't quite know. It looks like silentNoob has decided to place the blame upon his T3 units. I don't quite agree with his assessment there. I think that he had lost long before the trek to T3, but opinions, right? Opinions. In fact, it looks like he hasn't quite given up ball steam yet there. He's continuing to attack up there, even though he did call out the GG here. So perhaps he's just deciding to at least go down with a little bit of a fight there, and I can appreciate that. But his main base getting cleared out there, and sadly this commander heading on home. There's not much of a home for him to come back to. And it looks like they're just having a bit of a friendly conversation before the game ends properly there. So let's go ahead and just bump that up and just watch the unit stream in there. Those guys sadly getting picked off then. A little bit of a discussion about the balance between T3 units, which I cannot honestly join in any significant fashion there. Hardly ever surviving a game up to T3 myself. Just throwing out some friendly banter there, some last-ditch assault going on there, just to finally try and press past this line here on the bottom. silentNoob never actually reaching past here, and in fact, if we look here, the only pressure that did was at the very beginning, that little attack here that went up there, and past that, he never managed to get past 50% of the map there, and I think that perhaps helped him lose the game. But that is just personal conjecture there. We shall see. Inspector caught here. Chuckling perhaps by the lack of T3 here. Looks like he might not be seeing things right. There are 2 T3 factories here. Perhaps he's talking about himself. Let's go and take a look what kind of factory production he's got. Those are the air factories. We've got land factories here. T3 land factories. Okay, so he's just chuckling about his own lack of T3 factories there. But it definitely was enough to win him, that's for sure. A nice little just massive cloud of things here, and it looks like these bombers, this wave of T1 bombers just rushing at the commander there to silence him for good. Isn't that embarrassing? 25 minutes in and just losing to a rush of T1 bombers there, and it looks like these guys, are they going to get him off in one pass? It looks like yes, and bam! The very last bomb dropped. He had just enough bombers necessary to take that guy out, and indeed that little early rush here that silentNoob did with the transports there was definitely clever and I think effective, but he just did not end up with enough map presence to go ahead and finish that off. But either way, that was a very fun game, I've got to say. So far, 2 for 2 on Ocil Wetlands here have been very good. I'm enjoying this map. It looks gorgeous and it plays gorgeous too. Either way, so, to recap, we had a match on Ocil Wetlands between Inspector Caught and silentNoob. Inspector Caught taking the win. I hope that you've enjoyed this game as much as I have. This has been AlexBytes, and stay awesome until next time.